Not surprisingly, with 535 members of Congress, there is a lot of reaction coming out to the president's speech. Most of it divided along party lines. Most Democrats supportive of what the president had to say, his measured withdrawal of those surge troops. Many Republicans a little bit more critical. One, namely Senator John McCain, who said that he feels that the president is taking an unnecessary risk. Pulling those surge troops out leaves some of the American forces left behind in jeopardy, and also jeopardizes perhaps the security of the Afghan people the American forces are there to try and protect. Now, as well, there is a lot of concern about the cost of all of this. The United States Congress, of course, the one that foots the bill for these conflicts, already $444 billion has been spent, and many here on Capitol Hill feel that money could be better spent here in the United States, with the talk of unemployment and of job creation, the necessary need for job creation, as well as talk about raising the U.S. debt ceiling. Many members of Congress feel that the money spent in Afghanistan could be better spent here in the United States.
Arguably the most important reaction is from Afghanistan. That is where we find Bernard Smith this morning. Bernard, what do Afghans make of all this?
Well, I think, Kamal, as Afghans wake up this morning, they've been expecting this announcement. It's been well trailed, and there is an acceptance that this is because of US domestic pressure that Obama has made this announcement. But many Afghans, I can tell you, feel that America is leaving in the middle of a war, and they feel a bit left down. Remember, nearly 10 years ago, it took Americans just 2 weeks to rout the Taliban from Afghanistan. The Taliban have come back, and the Afghans think there is still a war to be fought here, and they need as much American help as they can get.
So it's potentially an encouraging sign for the Taliban if they can come back over 10 years with US troops in the country. What can they do without them?
Well, I mean, there's this saying that goes around here that the Taliban use, which is, you have the watch, we have the time. And that really means that the Taliban is prepared to wait it out. They can sit here, they can wait and see what happens, they can wait for the troops to leave, and as the troops start leaving, then theoretically perhaps they start rebuilding themselves, although they are at the same time engaged in talks with the US and Afghan governments.
And this is the thing, if you've got the Taliban seen as the enemy, but Karzai government is talking to them, how does that all play out? How does it fit together?
Well, I mean, it's an acceptance of the reality on the ground. The Afghan government knows that it's not going to be strong enough to beat the Taliban on its own. It knows that it's not going to get rid of the Taliban with or without American help. So the reality is it's going to have to talk to them. Afghans too are war weary, not just the Americans. Afghans want peace, and so they accept that while it might be it'll be necessary to talk to the Taliban, maybe take some compromises on women's rights and human rights during those talks, but better compromise than carry on with war.